And we're live. Hi, this is Roger Lonergan. I'm with Gamer Geek Radio, and I'm here with Bill or William.
Gelatin.
Let say that. I'm going to say Glenlineau, but go ahead.
It's Gelatin.
Gelino.
Bill Gelatin. Yep.
All right. So we he is the CEO, mastermind, genius in charge of Zoss Productions, who is uh, has entered a contest called By Felicia. So for those of you who are young kids who are part of the new social media and are going with the By Felicia meme, that is the theme for this film. Uh, con- but we're going to get more into that in a second. So, but Bill, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background.
Absolutely. Come from Michigan. I'm out of a town called Grand Rapids. Uh, just started going into high school. Got involved in the audio-visual programs out here. Um, did a lot of music and film back then. Um, life kind of got out in the way a little bit. Took me away from that dream, and then just earlier this year, actually, role to be an extra in a film came up. Got involved with that, met some people, and got highly interested. And a small group of us kind of became a nucleus, and they were pursuing actors and wanted to get some acting reels going. And because of my background in the past, I said, "Oh, I'll kind of be the spearhead of this a little bit and help keep everybody organized and on task." And through this process, I decided that this was going to be my future.
What was your background? You mentioned that quite a bit. Here's your background in the past. How what did you work on in high school and I'm assuming college? What skills did you have then that transitioned into now?
Yeah, where it mostly started was music as an artistic means.
Right.
Got involved heavily with, I played saxophone to start, um, and throughout the process, branched out. I now play 9 instruments. I also,
Holy shit.
and during that time, in high school, we had an audio visual program department. And because of my love of film, growing up, you know, kind of backtrack a little bit, I always said I wanted to be a movie director. Jurassic Park came out when I was in third grade, saw that film, and wanted to be Spielberg. My,
Yeah.
I know, shoe high. But my parents, really heavily pushed me into writing. At my dad's business, he had a computer which he allowed me to just write. Said, "Here, this is how you open it up. Here's the word process, word program, and just let me go off and write." Um, Started
Well,
this audio. Oh, go ahead.
you mentioned your background is music. It
Yeah.
was John Carpenter, because John Carpenter does the music for almost all this stuff. He's done iconic
Right.
things, the Halloween soundtrack, Escape from New York.
Right.
Great soundtracks. Um, did was he ever an influence for you?
Um, as I got older, yes. Um, Being younger, not so much. I was pretty heavy into music wise rock and roll. Not so much into movie scores outside of the legend John Williams, just because those scores were
Oh
just so
yeah, because you're American and you love freedom.
but you know, and obviously with Star Wars coming out, I got involved with this AV department, and I had a friend who wanted to make an amateur Star Wars film. So we spent almost an entire school year writing and filming an amateur Star Wars film. It was about 45 minutes long, and that was my first real big introduction into production, filming, editing, some special effects, and that was kind of the background that I had into that.
And we talked a little bit about this before the start, where uh, Okay, here's a little bit behind the curtain, kids. What we see before we go on, there's actually a lot of talking that goes on prior to this. We were talking about what it takes to actually put those images on screen, what it takes to put those effects on screen, what it takes to put that music on screen, and so while you were starting this, were you realizing that holy crap, this is a lot harder than it looks? This is more than just I point a camera at something, or I just more than hey, I'm just going to write some music and it'll somehow magically match the action I see on screen.
Like I said, I was pretty fortunate because of my time in high school. I was actually involved in this audiovisual group. So I learned the basics of what line of action, rule of thirds, um, how to actually edit and score and put things kind of edited together. A 10-year lapse in that. So when we got involved in this program or in this project itself, we had a 60-day window. And I don't know if everybody else that was involved at the time really understood. Some of them did, I know that, because they were pursuing acting careers. Some people were on actual real big time sets. They understood what it takes. Other people, just didn't quite get it. And just once we actually got the ball rolling, once we got it done and went through the process, they all educated themselves and learned how hard and time consuming and sometimes the struggle is to get even just this little bit of film put on the screen to look good.
Right. And now we're going to start going through the film. So if you haven't seen it, you need to get on Vimeo and look for
Home is Where the Soul Is. You can go up into the search bar there and you can find us right off there.
All right, so we're going to start going through this. We're going to break it down a little bit. Ideally, now we are seriously. Ideally, we would be doing this as a voiceover, like when you see on the DVDs. Those guys that have huge budgets, massive production values, and they can sit there and be behind the screen sipping their Perrier or their champagne, and and they've got the cool mics with the screen in front of it, but that's not us. All right, so going off of memory, all right, so the beginning of all right, spoiler alert, so stop the thing, go watch it. Okay, good. Now we're going to start.
We can do it.
Okay, now we can start. So you start off in the it's kind of a brutal start off, actually. Like you start off like with this okay, so you start off with a killing. Like 3 people die within the first time. One's dead. You have a dead guy, and then you have
actual acting role. I was I was already dead. Throat was sliced and bloody up, thrown in a corner, disposal.
yeah.
And 2 other women. One was playing my wife, the other was playing my daughter, and we have this homicidal maniac in there, and he is out to hurt people.
So, watching that, there was a lot of, okay, so I'm going to go with camera stuff now. You have a lot of fixed camera stuff. Like the camera was locked in place. Why? What was the choice behind that?
We, I think some of I probably would have changed some of that now that we've actually have that finished and done. And in fact, this might be a project that we do again in the future. But
no artistic art is only abandoned. It's never finished.
Exactly. It was very simple for us to put up on a tripod, have fixed locations and set angles, just considering space and time. Than to actually, we didn't storyboard this at all. Mm-hmm. So pretty much said, hey, we're going to set up these 2 camera angles right here. Film, shoot. And, we'd rotate them around. as the scene would progress. Be like, okay, now let's start back at this part, continue, and you can kind of see that, especially as the
Right.
opening scene continues. But it was just a lot more simple to have just the two camera angles that we knew where everything was from, and make sure that we can get all the action between the two.
Right. And then now, just so everybody is aware, I mean, if you're just watching this on the internets, you're like, oh, whoa, they just locked in the camera into, like, what goes into that decision? Like, to me, this is not something where you just go, well, I'm going to put the camera here, and this leads into what we were talking about filmmaking, where you it looks like you just lock the camera in place and that's it, but you have to capture
all the action, everything that is that you want to have displayed at some point in the scene. We had to make sure that we had in those camera angles and in those camera shots, especially at the very, very beginning when this murderer is on top, on top of my wife and threatening her and going over his reasoning behind why he's doing what he's doing. We also have this young girl who's playing my daughter, tied up and gagged, and making sure that we have her in a position. There's space that you got to make sure that everything's not too tight, but you want to make sure it's not too wide open, so nothing's getting cut off. So there is a lot of time and setup and figuring out where placement of things need to be so you can get those ideas on there.
And then, because we were talking about this before the show came on, when you have really famous movies that have set, I don't want to say set shots, but like, okay, so here we go. We just talked about it. Daredevil on Netflix. The fight scene in, was it episode 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Where it had to have taken weeks for that shot. And if you haven't, and if you haven't seen this, please also pause this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Daredevil, binge watch Netflix Daredevil. You'll know the fight scene we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's a hallway shot.
Welcome to the hallway shot. How much rehearsal goes into that? Or in the famous shower scene in Psycho. It took Alfred Hitchcock 2 weeks to film that. And it's like 1.5 minutes worth of film. Tops.
5 seconds. And it really, I think it's based on who's directing it, who's writing it, how intricate they actually want to get portrayed, what's on the scene put on there. If you have the time, you have the budget, you can spend a lot more time saying, this is exactly where I want this shot to be. This is exactly how I want the choreography to look. And, for instance, in Psycho, I want this camera angle here for 2 seconds, and then I want her face like this. And you film it again, you film it again, you film it again, till you can get a good sample size of what it is that you're looking for. Another great famous scene too that's intricate like that too was from The Shining, the famous bat scene between Jack Nicholson and his wife. In that, Stanley Kubrick had the actress and Jack Nicholson film that 127 times or something.
Oh my God! Well, Kubrick was about
perfection.
He was a little nuts, but
well, of course,
or if you're filming an apocalypse now and you actually film it in a war zone.
Yeah. It's about what your vision is, and that scene in Daredevil specifically, that choreography, just the rehearsal time alone to get down was probably a good month long, at least I'm assuming, to get all different people involved to know exactly when and where and how to fall and make it fit with a score as well.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like it's almost like a dance, and it's knowing, having, like, for example, my daughter's a professional dancer. Like, things have to hit certain beats, and I watch this in action movies,
Mm-hmm.
when they're doing we'll talk about the music here in a minute, where they're talking about the music, and I noticed the music, and this is me, the music is certain beats with certain action sequences, and it's very example 300.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, it's so good. Or Mad Max, the most recent Mad Max movie.
And
It was like, I'm sorry, you're done. You know,
great.
but you don't have you didn't have clearly you didn't have George Miller's budget. I don't know how that didn't happen. People were giving you hundreds of millions of dollars to film this movie, but I think that's what uh, some people don't get. They'll see amateur film and they'll go, "It's not as good as Mad Max was." Well, no shit. You didn't have $100 million, and these are guys with actual jobs.
Right.
Like, you're doing this as a side gig.
Everybody that was involved with this, whether that was people you see on screen, whether it was down to our music, we had a local band from the Michigan area that were here named Bonehawk. They actually let us use their album Albino Rhino. Go check them out too on YouTube. Great band. Um, they let us use their music as our score because one of the guys that's involved, they knew that this music would be good for it. So, but whether it was the music, whether it's people you see on screen, whether it was people that help donate time and equipment and locations, we all have 40 plus hour a week jobs and do this for the passion and love that we have for film and writing and music.
So, how, for the writing bit of it, now when did the writing start, and how long did that take?
The writing, let me see here. We had to have this, I'm trying to remember the time period now. We had a 60-day window from brainstorming to submission. We got together, like I said, I was involved with a movie that hasn't been released yet. It will be, though, called Sideshow. We were in,
Nice.
it's an anthology film. The portion in which everybody that's in my film and our films, Zoss films, were involved in this portion. It was a zombie one. And, we had a 3-day weekend, had a great time and a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Got to know each other, had a reunion. Some of these guys are pursuing acting as a career. So kind of got together and said, hey, we all got along. We all enjoyed doing this. Would you be interested in just having some fun and making, maybe some short films and this, that, and the other? We're like, yeah, let's get together. Let's do a brainstorm. Well, kind of mixed in with that conversation, he throws up this competition for iHorror for By Felicia.
Mm-hmm.
So we get together for this brainstorming session and kind of bounce my ideas off. Probably got 4 or 5 ideas. And I went to work right away that night and spent a week going over a basic outline of the storyline that I think we all pretty much agreed on, that we wanted to use. And from there, we spent another 2 weeks writing actual scripts. Quite a few, some of the other performers in the film as well. And that's in the credits as well. You can see who's involved with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and after that, we went into filming and, wish we could have had a little bit more time through this process. We learned, and I had an idea of how much more time we need to spend on it. But now that we've gone through this first film and this first process, the pre-production involved of script writing and polishing and storyboarding are very important roles and things that need to be done when trying to portray a story on film. So, yeah, from brainstorming to completion of script was maybe 3 weeks, which is pretty quick, I would say, for a 17-minute film that we had put together.
That sounds like a lot, because I'm currently I'm active duty military, so we have what's called 1/3, 2/3 when it comes to playing. You have 1/3 part of that is planning. So figuring out what it is you're going to do. And the 2/3 portion is your rehearsal bit.
Yeah.
You know, we have to rehearse what it is, you know, and that could be anything. You know, that could be
cleaning to actual action.
whatever it is, however you define that. So is that, does that translate into filming, or, you know, where you have this bit of it that's writing, but then, you know, versus, you know, how you deal with pre-production and before you actually camera roll?
I would agree with that 100%. You know, the story itself, you know, in some films, you know, it's going to be a lot longer, but, you know, I would say that's very, very true. I would say a third of the actual getting ready to film would be the actual writing, storyline, basic, you know, dialogue, action, things like that. And then the rest is actual rehearsal, practice, cinematography, what angles that you're going to want to use, where and how. And then it comes to actual execution. And that rehearsal time is valuable time, because when it comes time to film, if you haven't put the time in, it's going to show on film. It's going to show.
Right. And we were talking about this. You had a very truncated timetable.
Exactly.
So in, you know, in the pre-interview, kids, because it's what we do. We don't just turn the camera on. You mentioned that you didn't have time to storyboard this.
Right.
When would you, now as a filmmaker, what does storyboarding do for you? So, you know, people who don't understand what that is, or the value added that storyboarding, provides, what would that have done for you?
That would have, well, and this is, you know, just that's some of the stuff that we've learned through this process too as a group with Zoss Films is the importance of planning and rehearsal and the pre-production ends and the storyboarding, as you mentioned. What that does for a filmmaker and for a director and writers is to actually visually see before it's actually translated on film, to know where your action is going to be, where placement of people are going to be, especially if you're looking for drama or if you're looking for comedy. You know, where's your punchline? Yeah, what's the angles that you're going to want of things? So when you get into actual filming, you're not just sitting there with the camera like, so I think we should stand over here, maybe. You have a lot
Right.
more understanding of, you're just more prepared to walk into the situation and filming areas that you need to be, and what it is exactly that you're trying to get translated onto film for an audience. It also, you know, gives you a better idea if you need to change things, if you need to edit things and polish things up. You know, when you're reading something out of a paragraph form or even in a script form,
Right.
it might sound amazing or read great, but then when you start actually visually seeing how some of these things might translate, and you say, oh, you know what, we might want to tweak this a little bit here so that we can get our point across a little bit easier.
And I see that a lot with a lot of the comic book movies that we have now. A lot of the, the internet criticisms of them are, they're saying stuff. Oh, it's not like the comic book and blah. It's like, look, what translates into the written page may not translate if you put it into live action. Now, some stuff does. Like, the DC TV series guys, these guys managed to shoot that stuff in such a way that it looks like a comic book. Live, the way they color it, the way they light it, the way they...
And that's the direction they're looking for as well.
Right. And so they do an amazing job of that, but it doesn't always work. And I've heard that complaint with some of the costumes. They're like, oh, the costume's not exactly what... Like, it's like, look, dude, if they put that costume on the screen, it would look stupid.
Exactly.
If they did it, if they did shot for shot, if they made that costume, there are tweaks. Even the ones they say are look, oh, that's picture perfect. They've made changes. They may have, and I notice this because I paint 3D models, and it's like they've stepped that color down, like that blue, like Captain America in his costume, like that blue is
Not as vibrant.
the blue that Captain in a comic book. It's a darker shade, and they've got other things in it that make it look. It doesn't look. It was if you did Captain America's outfit on screen, it would look stupid. It would totally look retarded.
If you remember the Captain America film from '91, they tried to win that.
Oh dear God, no, don't get me straight. Oh my God, are you talking the one where it was in like Italy, and there was like 12 dudes, jump out, 12 Italian guys jump out of a Porsche, Carrera, and it's like, oh my God, kill me now. This is dumb. It's almost as bad as the Fantastic Four
Oh yeah, from the '90s as
from
well.
the '90s. Not the Josh Trank. I don't know what happened to Josh Trank's Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I've been pretty. I'm a big Fantastic Four fan as well, and I've been, just to be blunt, pretty disappointed in all of them. But
are you kidding me? You didn't like The Incredibles?
Oh,
yeah. You see where I went there?
that was the best Fantastic Four film ever.
The best Fantastic Four was The Incredibles.
But yeah, getting back to home is where and the storyboarding and translating it. Like you said, you got to do tweaks because in your head this idea of what something should look like,
right,
when you put it on film is sometimes just not going to translate. It might be great to you still, but if you're trying to appeal to masses and develop an art piece, sometimes you have to make sacrifices on what's actually going to translate better on film.
Have you had to ever go, this is my vision, I don't know if it's going to translate to the mass audience, but this is what my vision is.
Right.
This is my thing,
and I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it anyway. Have you ever had that experience?
Absolutely. Mostly with music. Before I got involved with films again, I was working on an album, and of course, being a white guy that's 30 years old, I wanted to be a rapper.
Oh, really? I thought
it took away from my jazz and rock and roll and blues background, but I kind of said to hell with everything else, and this is the direction I want to go. And it did not translate the way that I wanted it to, but I still had a blast doing it, and it's not anything that I regret. It's just it was a piece of who I am and a piece of art that I had done, But not looking forward to
where can we find this? Where does this exist? I feel like I'm gonna end up like I've discovered like some 14-hour 70s prog rock album.
That would be amazing. And rap, the whole rap thing just kind of came up on accident. There's actually quite a few other little demo things that I had put together. I have most of it myself, but there's a good buddy of mine and a production company he owns up here in Michigan as well, Double D Productions. He still has all of the recordings of me, and I hope he never wants to release them without my permission, because there are some interesting things on there.
So, what is it if one wanted to find these? Where really it's
Double D Productions on Facebook, out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. A guy named David James. You could probably contact him, and he would, be able to hook you up with that. But there's nowhere on the internet that I'm aware of that you can find these.
So
if you guys would like to give me $100, you can always contact me on Facebook, and I can always give that out. But if the money's right, it will come out. But yeah, I'm not. Some of that probably will never be released because it's not, let's say, family friendly.
yeah, because let's be on. Yeah, luckily we have the family friendly things like Keeping Up with the Kardashians,
Oh yeah,
the
right.
Desperate Housewives of insert vapid location here.
Well, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sorry. You got to remember, dude. For rap, for me, I don't. Oh, okay. I'm gonna stop because we're gonna go off on a whole another thing. But anyway,
Yeah,
uh, so I'm hearing a lot. You do a lot in Michigan. Uh, because that seems to be where your roots are from. You're not there now. You're in Virginia, if I'm not mistaken.
no, I'm still in Michigan
You're
right
still in
now.
Michigan? Okay. So you guys have Michigan. You got a lot of talent out there. A certain you said rap, so you have a certain what was his name? Marshall Mathers, I think. Yeah. Mr. Rock, Kid Rock, I think, also out of Michigan. Um,
Ted Nugent.
Ted, Ted New, yeah, Ted Nugent, yeah. Oh
We
God,
also have Timothy Allen as well.
Tim Allen, yeah, Ted Nugent. I forgot about Ted.
Jeffrey Daniels.
Yeah,
Yeah, Madonna. There's
yeah.
quite a bit of talent that's come out of here.
Well, so here's the thing for Michigan though, for filming,
Sure.
you should be able to do um, some pretty good post-apocalyptic dystopian stuff. I mean, you have Detroit. You literally have the entire city of
Dystopian.
Detroit to film in.
I actually have quite a bit of family over in Detroit. I'm on the other side of the state, Grand Rapids, which is the west side of Michigan. We haven't branched out.
AKA the Upper Peninsula, for those that don't know
uh, there's, we have quite a few other projects that we have planned ahead. We are already in pre-production on our next film.
Mm-hmm.
I will not be directing this one. One of the other owners of Zoss Films, Bill Kenny, he's put together a pretty good story. He's going to be directing. He's been writing, and we have a lot more time than 60 days this time. We have a good 7 months, and another competition in which that we're going to be submitting this film. There might be some, you know, time to eventually expand into other parts of Michigan for other films like that. But as of right now, we haven't really gotten into the dystopian type of genre, or at least that's not quite any of our goals yet, just because it's kind of getting overplayed right now. So
Yeah, I was just making fun because it was like you have the. I mean, let's be honest, Detroit.
Detroit is a dystopian.
It's like, but
Parts of Detroit too. Don't get me wrong.
yeah, Central. I got friends of mine. I'm totally clowning everybody. I'm from Chicago. Who am I to throw stones at people? But they but so you're working on this new film, this new thing, for a contest, and you have a lot more time to work on it. Uh, what what can you tell us about this? You don't you need to give away the details, broad strokes.
It's
Teaser trailer. What do we got?
we have a. I can't give away almost anything quite yet, but it is going to be a horror / psychological thriller. Um, Great story, great ideas behind of what the attention is that we're trying to grab from the audience. And I think we have a great idea of the characters and feelings and emotions that we want to try and get out of these people.
So when you say horror, psychological, are we is this like When people say that to me, I'm thinking Hitchcock. Like for me, that's the guy.
That I don't want to put us on a pedestal anywhere near that. We're trying to fine tune our craft still. We're trying to get our experience. Um, this isn't my vision itself. This is one of my other partners here.
Mm-hmm.
But from the story that we've built so far and the characters that he's developed, and definitely, like I said, we have a lot more time in the pre-production ideas that we actually want to get. I think that we're going to put a pretty good product ahead to be submitted for a film competition. So
All
look
right.
forward to that. We'll be doing some more interviews and just keep tuned with, Gamer Geek Radio and follow us a lot
Now,
more.
does ZOS or ZOS have a? Do you guys have your own? Do you have your own website? Do you have your own?
We are actually going to be in that production. We don't have our own .com site yet, but next week we are going to have our own Facebook page, as well as you can always find us on Vimeo as well. If you go to Vimeo.com and search for Home is Where the Soul Is, you can follow me on there, Bill Gelineau. That's Bill Gelineau. That's going to be where all our ZOS films are going to be, and from there we're going to grow, and you can always get more information from there as well.
All right. And then going forward from this, how do you see yourself? Like, what excites you as a director or as an actor, as producer, writer? Like, obviously, horror, psychological horror. That seems to be
That's been
where you're
our
at.
go-to right now, mostly because that's where I would say our competition leads have been. For me, it's about telling a good story with characters that you can care about. I know that's cliche to say, but you know, getting to that point where you actually in either a short film or even in a feature is connect to a protagonist and an antagonist and building up some type of drama to a climax with a resolution where when you're watching it, you actually feel engaged and involved. That's what excites me. And caring and feeling for what you're watching and the action on film. Um, you know, I've got many other things that I've been writing. They're not all horror. I have some comedies. I have some drama. Um, I'd like to get into some sci-fi once our budgets can get a little bit higher. But it's really about engaging with the characters and the action that you see on film. That's what motivates me.
Right. And then, so, uh, character driven. So, but we're not talking, you're not going to do, Nicholas Sparks. We're not, you're not doing The Notebook ever.
No. That doesn't mean that a love story isn't a bad thing. One of my favorite love stories ever is Rocky. Sylvester Stallone. The boxing.
Oh, Jesus. No, oh, yeah. Don't get me started. Don't get me
Boxing was
going.
the actual connection was the love between, Adrian.
Adrian and Rocky. Yeah.
That's what drives me. And you can tell a good love story. Thanks, guys. Um, it's about if you can tell a story, that's great. But we're not trying to do Twilight. We're not going to try and do The
I,
Notebook or anything like that.
I would end you. I'm not saying I would shank a man,
Slap me if that ever happens. Okay.
but I would, I would totally, I'm not saying, I would kill a man, but we don't need any more Twilight in this world.
No, we do not. 100%.
But the other part of me is like, although if they gave me the money Stephanie Meyer's got for that movie,
Yeah. Do you sell your soul or?
They were like I never sell my soul, but and then I get my daughter's, I get the tuition checks, and it's like, would I?
It always goes back to that other thing. When it comes to music, I always get in this debate. Would you want to write the one epic album where every single song is a hit, but it's not necessarily going to sell, or would you want to sell Ice Ice Baby? Do you want that one big one hit wonder and just live good for the rest of your life? Not that Vanilla Ice is, but do you want that one hit wonder that's what you're known for, or would you want to write something of substance and be very, very proud of what you're doing?
Well, we that's interesting because I'm a big fan. For those of when I was a teenager in the 1837, there was a band called Twisted Sister.
I remember Twisted Sister, of course.
The lead singer, who's a lead singer, Dee Snider. Dee Snider was a lead singer, and he was a primary songwriter. And you had J.J. French, A.J. Perro, and all these other guys, who were part of that. And Dee Snider, he still does stuff. Like, he's on radio. He does. He has. I saw it. It was in Chicago. Dee Snider did a Christmas play.
Oh, really?
With music, yes. Oh my God, I saw him. I met him. There's photos on the internets. But where he was like, I did this thing for a while, and that was my thing, and I made the, but then I went and did other stuff.
Right.
Another guy who is, one of my spirit animals, Henry Rollins. Remember Henry Rollins from the band Black Flag, Rollins Band, all these other stuff. Now he does spoken word, and he's an actor and does, he's in a lot of stuff. You probably saw him in Sons of Anarchy and some other things. So I think you don't need to be pigeonholed. I think you can do more than one things. I think, unfortunately, the world at large likes to pigeonhole people. Like I think picture this one. Like, we all know Quentin Tarantino.
Absolutely.
Quentin Tarantino. And picture this: Quentin Tarantino, and give him a script like The Notebook or a love story, or like, here's your thing. People would lose their minds.
Oh yeah.
If he did that, if it's like, I want you, give him a shit. Oh, here you go. Quentin Tarantino does Macbeth with like Kenneth Branagh producing it.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I would watch that.
Yeah, and he started doing that because people they'd be like, oh, I don't want to see that. It's so stupid. But it's like, oh, it's like, seriously, if I had all the money, I would totally do that. I can't believe I just thought of that. I would get on the phone right now, dude. Think about this.
I got an idea, and it's going to drive people nuts. But the other thing too is you got to do what you love, and if the masses don't like it, as long as you're happy with it, that's great. A great example of that, two of my favorite musical artists is Lou Reed and Metallica, and they did an album
called
Lulu. It is what it is.
Yes, I've heard that. I've heard that album. It's interesting.
It's interesting. That's a word to use.
It's definitely two musical genres. It's one of those things I'm going to listen to multiple times. Like, it's like, I don't get this, and I've had that visually. So to circle back to the movies, I've heard that with movies. There are some movies I didn't hate them. There are some movies I just can't stand. It's like, this is stupid. But there's some movies, and it's mostly like Japanese cinema.
Okay.
Like Akira Kurosawa, type of stuff. Some of his later things, not so much his samurai stuff. It's fairly straightforward, very Shakespearean. It's deep, but you can get it.
Right.
Um, you know, Hidden Fortress, which is, in case people don't know, is got a lot of Star Wars, very Star Wars centric. Seven Samurai, very good. But anyway, some of the later Kurosawa stuff, very deep, and I was like, I don't get it. It's not bad, but I don't get it, and I was annoyed that I
Right.
didn't get it, so I needed to go back and listen to it or watch it.
Right.
And there's some music that I found that's like that.
Yeah.
Where you need to revisit it. So I would say, as anybody's watching, don't don't crap on something just because you don't get it the first time around.
Exactly.
It's like there may be some deep stuff there. Like you just got laid truth. So you need to go back and either re-listen or rewatch.
It's art too. Even if there's so many trolls and haters out there, and sometimes those people are always going to be out there as an artist and as people that wish to be artists. Do what you love and do what you want to make. Um, be proud of it, even if it is Twilight. If that's the thing,
It's I know it's the money. The numbers don't lie on that one.
but if that's if that Michael Bay, Michael Bay is very, very proud of what he is and what it is that he makes. Um, am I a fan of his films? Not too much. Bad Boys is awesome.
Not
Okay.
all of them. Let's be honest though. Here's the thing: if it's a Michael Bay movie, you know what you're getting.
Know what you're getting. Exactly.
There's no doubt in your mind what you're about to see. And
But
he does not. It's some of his stuff. And for a guy who grew up in the '80s, okay, so
right.
I'm 42, so I was there. I was there for Commando. Yes, I
Yeah.
saw it in the theater.
The old Chuck Norris films and
Yes, the old Chuck Norris, all that stuff. Lone Wolf McQuade, bro. I saw that back in the day when they had this thing called drive-in movie theaters, way back when.
those around here.
Yeah, you know, So Michael Bay has a certain nostalgia factor for me. Uh,
Right.
there's some of the stuff I wish he wouldn't do, and it's me being a bit of a stuck up idiot because I have no problem with command Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando. If you watch that thing from a technical standpoint, dude,
What you're getting. This is Schwarzenegger.
it's a Schwarzenegger 80s flick. It looks
Yeah.
like they just were like, all right, did we get it? Good. Move on to the next thing. I think we got it. We're not sure. But, in that shot, he left his wallet still lying there. We don't have enough budget. We don't have enough budget. Just go. Just go. The Porsche he rolled over, it doesn't have the dent in the side. It looks like it's literally a brand new Porsche.
It
Just
doesn't
pull
matter.
it. Just go. Just go. We don't have. We only got. You're eating up our budget. Just you talking to me. Okay, that's what we got. So
Exactly. Getting back to Zoss films though, and what we've been working on, that's some of the stuff too that I've seen with not just this film, but there's gonna be some of those things, especially as amateur artists, amateur directors, and you know, building up that you look at those Schwarzenegger films and
yeah,
you kind of scoff at them a little bit, but that's people getting experience and that's people learning
yeah,
how to do what they do. Yes, they got a bigger budget, and yes, they get some release and stuff, but even people with budgets and releases, there's still some new people on there. There's still new cameramen. There's still people just coming into their own. And it's a process, and
yeah,
it's really based on the direction that you really want to make for yourself. And, if that's the types of films that they want to make, great. And if people want to step up and do other things, make little things maybe a little bit bigger and, more spectacular, like Star Wars or Jurassic World, things like that, you got to start somewhere, and sometimes it starts with home is where the soul is.
Exactly. And real quick, I'm going to do some, we're going to pay some bills here. So I want to give a shout out to Gamers Geek Radio, who's hosting this production right now. And also the Promenade, who is an Vance Major, the most famous Z-list celebrity you're ever going to hear about. That's his site. And Lady Rage, who's the hostess of Gamer Geek Radio, who is allowing this to happen right now. Thanks, everybody. We're going to, so you're talking about getting started. What's the best way? Okay, so there's a lot of, okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting some Lady Venom, Lady Venom's Lair, sorry, and Game Share Play. I'm getting text, pardon me, I'm getting live and Star Wars pick. Yes, Star Wars. Go see Star
Yes, go see Star Wars. It's going to be
Wars.
huge.
Sorry, I'm getting text message text message promo. So apologies. Uh, what is the best way if we have local production stuff? So like you, Zoss, or whatever Zoss is in my area. Now, Oaks, I'm sorry, the Warriors Horde. We're going to shout out the Warriors Horde.
Sweet.
Game Share Play. Um, the okay, the Warriors Horde, Game Share Play. Listen up, because we're going to tell you how you can support your local filmmaker right here,
Absolutely.
right now. So, I have Zoss in my area, or whatever the equivalent of my area Zoss is.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a local film guy, how do I help that person?
Pay your artist. You know, whether that's through
Pay your artist.
pay your artist, because you know, at the end of the day, there is a finance of things, whether that's through a Kickstarter or a donation of time, donation of equipment. If you're able to be an extra in a film, whatever it is that you could do, whether you're a makeup artist and you're able to um, be able to help out somebody, you know, we had an amazing makeup artist who came in, you know, and we paid her and she was great to come out and do that. But, you know, we helped her, she helped us. The best thing is about networking and getting together and know some of these people. If you need films made or, you know, demonstration videos, if you're at a business and you need something, training videos, HR videos, things like that, get in touch with some of these local people and they will use that money to actually get their art put on film as well. And that's some of the things that we've been getting involved with too, is getting involved with some of the local businesses around us and providing a service with them so that they can help finance our future products. Or go on Kickstarter if you get to know some of these people. You've been an extra in a film and they got another film coming out, even if it's 5, 10, $20, anything that you can do to help get any of these on there. That's the biggest thing that you can do is help get this film on there.
And then, so it doesn't, everybody, it doesn't, you know, these guys aren't doing it for money, but it takes money to do it.
It takes money to make it.
It
You
takes
know, we're
money.
not looking to make profits yet. You know, that's we're local small people just trying to get our art out there. But there is a budget, and the better quality stuff that's out there is all based on the finances, you know. So if you're able to financially help support, that'd be like buying DVDs, um, marketing, help promote some of these films that local artists make. This is another great thing that you can do is just getting those numbers out there for people, you know.
And so, you know, if you're in that area, so if we're reaching anybody out in the Midwest region, so if you're in, you know, in the state of Michigan, whether you're in the upper or lower peninsula, because Michigan isn't one state, it has to divide itself.
Of course.
Of course, uh, you know, help these guys out. And it's not just necessarily money though; it's location.
It is.
If I if you're the guy who happens to own the house from, oh god, oh shoot, what was the name of the movie? The possession movie. Shoot, famous house.
Amityville.
Amityville, the Amityville house. Yes, the Amityville house. You could be the Amityville house. You could be the Psycho House people.
Exactly. Locations help. Anything, and that was, anything to help local artists. It's the best thing you can do, whether that's music, film, performance, anything that it is that you can help donate time is one of the best things that you can do.
And also, too, if you're out there and you have not just uh, time and money, if you have production skills, if you edit, if you're a movie edit person, and you've got, by all means, this is college students. This is your thing. If you
Absolutely.
want this is where your resume is built on. I hate to break it to you. No one's going to want to hear from you unless you have a resume. This is where that starts.
Exactly. And, whether it's behind the scenes or even acting, you're going to have to donate some free time. That's what we call internships. You know, go on your local Craigslist or whatever your local state websites. In Michigan, we have MLive. Go on MLive, see what type of acting gigs are out there, see what type of production gigs are out there, and just donate sometimes. Get to know some of these people, get to build your resume, because that's what's going to help you get into bigger and better things.
Right. It's okay. This is where the old gray beards are telling you young folks what to do. It's all about who you know, and so about you got to get started somewhere. You are not going to make it right off the bat. So uh,
You got to put the time and experience in.
right. If you had a dream part, okay. So we're fantasizing now. We got 3 minutes left.
So
You get a dream project. I'm Bill Gates. I'm going to give you all the monies. You get all the monies. You get to do what you want. What are you doing?
oh man, just because all the other ones are already called up for, I would say episode 10.
Episode 10. You can do Star Wars.
I would do Star Wars. I know.
You wouldn't. Well, here we go. Of Star Wars, what part of Star Wars would it be? Episode 10, or is there a little bit of the Star Wars universe? Because they're going to do Rogue One, so we're going to see the basically the Star Wars equivalent of the Dirty Dozen. So what would you do?
Boba Fett.
Boba
I
Fett.
would do a Boba Fett story, and I don't even know if I wouldn't even do a background story, because we already know who Boba Fett is. I don't want to spend 45 minutes to an hour.
Thank you for not giving me an origin story.
Yeah, I'm not giving you an origin story. I want to give you the epic. Boba Fett is hunting down the most badass person out there in the galaxy, and I want to give you the best story that is. That would
Nice. All right. So, should I ever have Bill Gates money? Kind of all the money. All right. So, right now we're gonna start wrapping it up.
absolutely.
We're gonna give a shout out once again, Gamers Geek Radio, Lady Rage, who is the sponsor of this. We're gonna also Vance Major, and the most famous Z-list celebrity out there on the promenade. Gamers Lady Venom's Lair, thank you also for hosting this. Game Share Play and Warriors Horde, awesome
Absolutely.
guys. Thank you, appreciate it. And don't forget, go see Star Wars, because God knows the rest of the planet. The rest of the planet is. So exactly. All right, Bill, go ahead. What up? Go ahead. Have it.
Absolutely.
What else you got?
Couple of real quick shout outs. I'm going to give a shout out to Jim Lehman and Bill Kenny, my partners at Zoss Films. Great guys. Keep looking at us in the future. Check us out on Facebook. Just look up Zoss Films out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. you'll see our Facebook page coming up in the next week. Check out Home is Where the Soul Is on Vimeo.com. Just go up to the search bar and type in Home is Where the Soul Is. You'll see us right there for Zoss Films. I also want to thank Terry Blevins from my old high school, Granville High School, for helping put this together as well as Bruce Nimchek for helping us with the editing capabilities to get this all started. This business is building up. This is just the first step, and a lot more to come. So I want to thank everybody right now that helped get us to where we're going. And I want to thank everybody here also as well, Lady Venom and everybody else at GGR for making this possible. So thank you guys. Look forward to more interviews in the future.
All right, everybody. And thanks. And stay tuned next week because there's a little movie coming out called Star Wars. I have a feeling it's going to get covered here. All right. Peace.